Dude, the last day of school, we should all put our mask in a pile in the middle of the hallway and burn it. But that's a terrible idea. Not in the school. Well, outside then.
So you're saying you should commit a felony the last day of school? Arson?
No, I'm good. Now, we could. The boys, remember the girls all wore tights just because they said they couldn't wear tights? Now, all the boys wore caps.
Nice.
Hey, storm at school with caps.
Hey, that's.
They couldn't arrest all of us. Some of us could make it out. Alive, possibly. Some of us could maybe. I'm gonna be that one guy who's gonna show up and nobody else.
Alright. What is the definition of an atom?
Particles.
Not necessarily particles. Just
The
it's literally
smallest
made up of everything. Everything is made up of it.
unit of matter that retains or maintains its chemical identity.
Hey, Mr. West,
Yes.
do you know the weather for Saturday?
What is that?
The weather? I heard it be storming today.
Repeat that?
The weather. Hey, it'll be storming today.
I don't know.
For sure it's supposed to rain a little bit.
Yo, it's supposed to rain all week.
That's right. Hey, if I didn't got so good, I think maybe the whole thing something to do is if you're cold. So we can't get that kind of, a little bit of snow. You want to go in the pouring rain?
I mean, it's snow. Like, you know,
That'd be great.
oh yeah, hold on,
Anyway. No,
What is an element?
Speaking of Reese's home, so it's I'm going Sunday. I'm going probably raining Sunday morning.
So an element is anything on the periodic table
What's the minute the apple time? Because I know the 30th.
We do need to get it.
is composed of only one type of atom.
No, put that back down.
So some things about element. So this is the definition. So an element can be a part of a homogeneous mixture. For example, you can mix chlorine with water. No, that wouldn't work because it would react. Make hydrochloric acid. What's another example? What's something that dissolves in water as a pure element? Salt is an element.
It's a compound.
It's a compound. Very good.
Oh yeah. Smart kid. Yeah. Now look at the chlorine.
It can interact.
Magnesium.
So it can interact with other elements to form compounds. It can be a part of a heterogeneous compound. So iron and water make heterogeneous mixture, So it can be a part of a heterogeneous mixture. Is a pure substance. Can not be separated
Oh, the bull safety. Oh, you know it. Alright.
into other substances by chemical means. You can do it by nuclear means, but not chemical. So that's some properties of elements. Let's look at compound. So compound is more than one type of element bonded together chemically.
Are you gonna show us how to make the thing too?
Yes.
What, like with the atoms and
Mhm.
protons and neutrons?
Michael, keep your mask on.
Hey. Ran. I think he did not.
So it's at least two different elements chemically bonded together.
Hey, Mr. Webb,
Yes,
am I passing the class?
probably.
Probably not passing this class.
No, I know I'm
At the end of class, because this shouldn't take long, I'm just reviewing. So it's a pure substance. Can be if it's not mixed with anything. Can be broken down into simpler substances by chemical means. Cannot be broken down into simpler substances by physical means. So you can only break it down by chemical means. So cannot versus can.
Yeah. Michael, I swear to God, I did not write notes about sitting. Not saying. It's not his fault.
So a mixture is a combination of pure substances not chemically bonded together. It may be uniform or not uniform. throughout its composition. Uniform means it looks the same throughout. Not uniform means it looks different throughout. So basically, it's a blend of two or more pure substances where each pure substance maintains their own unique properties. Like, for example, salt is salty, water has a neutral taste. If you mix them together, so water is a pure substance, salt is a pure substance. If you mix them together, the salt maintains its own unique properties of being salty.
How do we get, like, if you put too much salt in your food, how do you get the salt out?
By removing the salt.
How do you do that?
Well, if it's caked on, you just scrape it off. If it's mixed very well, then you throw it away and start over. So, homogeneous mixture is uniform in composition, i.e., it looks the same throughout. If you can see differences in any two parts, it's not homogeneous. Any single drop or speck, I don't know how to spell speck, will look the same. So basically, if you have a glass of salt water and you were to go and grab a drop, put it on one side, and randomly grab another drop of salt water, those two drops look identical. So salt water is homogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixture is not uniform in composition. I.e., it looks different in different places. If you can see any differences then it's heterogeneous. So if you can label or name different parts, it's heterogeneous.
I.e. means example, right?
Hmm?
I.e.
I.e. is Latin. It means for example. So, for example, technically, I think for example is e.g., i.z., i.e. is, I forget, but anyway. A lot of people got confused the other day. What is a dog? A dog is a heterogeneous mixture of different parts. You can say there's an eye. You can label an eye. You can label fur. You can label skin. You can label all different parts. On the chemical level, we have glucose, sugar, running through. We have blood. We have water. We have the cell walls, or the cell membranes. We have nucleuses. We can definitely see different parts. So a dog is heterogeneous. It does not look the same throughout. So let's look at hydrogen versus oxygen. Let's go back up to mixtures. So a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen looks like this. They're not chemically reacted. It's hydrogen plus some oxygen. If we look at instead hydrogen peroxide, it looks like this. The oxygen is physically bonded to the hydrogen. So this is hydrogen peroxide. Which is a compound. And this is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen gas.
But two gases make liquid.
No, these with a gas. You can have hydrogen and oxygen in the air. And they not react. You can have them react to each other and make a liquid, hydrogen peroxide. Right. Well, it's going to be on Google Classroom YouTube video. You can skip through it and pause it. And take a screenshot. Yes. Mm-hmm. There's something I left off on compound, but I'll just write on the next page.
Sick.
Everyone good? So this continues from compound. I will write it here so that whenever I go into other class, has a definite blah, 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 blah. So a compound, I forgot to write this on it. If you left space, you can include it. Has a definite composition. What this means is has a specific ratio of elements. So, for example, water, the compound water has 2 hydrogen for each oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide has 2 hydrogen for each double oxygen. So the ratios are another way of writing it, 1H for each H, or for each O. So compounds have a definite composition. Mixtures do not have a definite composition. You can vary how much is in a mixture. You cannot vary how much is in a compound. So, for example, in a mixture, you can have lightly salted versus heavily salted. A pure substance is a substance containing only one type of element. R is a substance containing only one type of compound. Remember that mixtures, when you mix pure substances together, to form a mixture, each pure substance retains its identity. Retains or maintains its unique properties. A solution is another name for homogeneous mixture. Yeah, we're almost done. An extensive property depends on size or amount or even shape. Yeah, I don't like that. So an extensive property depends on size or amount. This includes mass, volume, length, Moles, energy, are number of particles. And depends on size.
Is there a DNA strand over there?
No, that was a microwave. So an extensive property depends on size or amount.
Did you scribble out what shape or is that?
Yeah, I scribbled it out. Shape is also a extensive property. So how much mass is in a box? We can't answer this without knowing what's in the box. Without knowing the mass of the box. What's the surface area of a generic room? It depends on the dimensions of the room. I.e., the lengths of the sides of the room. So, extensive. And intensive property does not depend on size. You can talk about intensive properties without knowing how much. Yes. Is gasoline flammable? We do not need to know how much gasoline.
Any amount of gas. What was the other exceptions to the extensive? Wasn't it something to do with
Density is extensive. Density is intensive. So some unique things is solubility, lethality, toxicity. How much will kill you? Are defined in ways that make it intensive. For example, let me look up hydrogen. So, has anyone ever heard of LD50?
Heard of what?
LD50.
No, I've heard of WD-40.
LD50 is the lethal dose. Is the lethal dose such that you have a 50-50 chance of dying.
Oh,
So like
God.
the lethal and
Depends on how you find it.
Lethal
Which
dose.
means if you take the LD50 of a substance, you have a 50% chance of living and a 50% chance of dying.
Like, yeah, but you're allergic to it, it's strong. You don't know if you're allergic to cocaine if you're strong, but you're allergic to that.
So if you took 100 random people and they all took the LD50, statistically 50 of them will die, 50 of them will live. That's how we define toxicity and lethality. So let's look. Hydrogen cyanide is very toxic. The LD50 of so for example, the LD or lethality of cyanide